Vandaag, we gaan door met een fantastische Q&A. Graag uw daverend applaus voor Fred Williamson.
Thank you, thank you. So, this is going to be, I know that a lot of things you like to know about me. Some things I will tell you and some things I won't. That's for you to figure out if I'm telling the truth or if I'm lying or not. I'm from Chicago. Anybody here from Chicago? Anybody here been to Chicago? All right. It's the Windy City. Before, give you a little short background of me. Before getting into the movies, I was a professional football player for 12 years. I'm a Super Bowl champion. I played in 3 Super Bowls in the States for the Oakland Raiders, which is the bad boys of the pro football team. That's why I'm such a tough guy. My first movie was the movie MASH. How many people saw the movie MASH? I was Spear Chucker. That was my first movie. I've done over 100 movies. Many of them I did in Rome, Italy. I did Inglourious Bastards. I did 4 Black Cobras in Rome. 1990 Bronx Warriors. I did about 20 films in Rome, Italy. So here I am in Brussels, letting you see how good I look compared to how you look. So we got questions out there. Anybody want to know anything about the Hammer or why they call me the Hammer? Come on, speak up. It's free. Won't cost you nothing. Nobody have any questions, and I can go. Yeah, right here. Go for it.
You played also with Richard Pryor and Adios Amigo. How was that?
He's asking me about a Western I did. We got somebody here trying to be the boss, trying to tell us how to run our program here. Adios Amigo. He wants to know about Adios Amigo, how it was working with Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor, I think, at the time when he was alive, was probably the funniest man that I've ever known. The script was 10 pages long. When I hired him, I didn't even have a script. It was 10 pages. So when we got on the set, I would tell him to do something funny so we could have a movie that was 90 minutes. So every time we got into a situation, I said, you know, Richard, give us something for 15 minutes or 20 minutes that was funny. So he was great at that. Richard Pryor was the best comedian that I know. Boss has another program here. Let's come up and tell him what your program is, boss.
Those are my first 3 questions, so I'm running out of questions right now. Pleased to have you here, sir. So, you told everybody that you were a professional football player. I was wondering if, like, acting was that a childhood dream or just something that you ran into, like, after your career, or were you into movies while playing football?
No, being an actor is not something I ever wanted to be. Not even being a professional football player was something that I wanted to be. It was something that I was good at, something that came into being because I was good at it. Like I said, I played 12 years of professional football. When I stopped playing football, I was an architect. During the off-season, I worked as an architect. When I stopped playing football, I worked full-time as an architect. But I couldn't make the transition. Working 9 to 5 and having 1 hour for lunch did not fit my personality. So one night I was watching television and I saw Diane Carroll had a show called Julia. And I noticed that each week, the new boyfriend was the guest star role on the show. So being the kind of guy that I am, I said, I'm better looking than any of those guys. So I'm going to Hollywood and become Diane Carroll's boyfriend. So I did. It took me 3 days to convince them that I was what they needed as a regular boyfriend on the Julia show. So for 3 years, I was Diane Carroll's boyfriend on the Julia show. And we shot it at 20th Century Fox. And while I was there, I met the producer and director, Robert Altman, who hired me to be in the movie MASH. So I said, hey, this is good. I made more money in those 2 movies than I did in my whole football career. That was back in the day when they weren't paying any money.
Paul Newman was quoted as saying he preferred a sports game over watching a movie because you never know how it's going to end. Today, what do you prefer, watching a ball game or a football game or watching a movie?
I'd rather watch a football game. I want to know that it's real. I mean, you can you can kiss a whole bunch of behind and get a part in a movie, but you can't kiss no behind to make a sports team. You have to be good. You have to be dedicated. And you have to be somebody that brings something to the table. Movie actors are a whole other bunch of animals. They're not my friends. Okay, my best buddies are athletes, not movie stars.
Thanks. As I understand, you're not very fond of the word blaxploitation, right? Because it has a bad ring to it, and I fully understand. But I've noticed there's like a certain bitterness towards the movie industry in interviews that I've seen you do, because some of the pioneer work that you did isn't fully appreciated to the full extent. Would you like to commentate on that?
Yeah, it's not that I am disturbed by the terminology black exploitation. It's just stupid. But what does it mean? Who's being exploited? The actors are being paid. They're getting starring roles that they never really got back in the 70s. The black audiences are very happy because now their heroes are black and they're winning the fights, not getting killed in the first 2 minutes of a movie. So everybody is happy. So the press came up with this terminology, black exploitation, which I never really understood. I don't know what it means. It's something that they invented, so let them explain it. I just tell you, I don't understand it.
All right, thanks. Will Smith is arguably the biggest movie star working today, and I guess something must have changed, let's say 15 or 20 years ago, for black people working in the movie industry.
I don't really feel that anything has changed. When you look at how many black actors there are that are really working regularly, you have 3. You have Will Smith, you have Denzel Washington, and you have
Halle Berry.
Well, Jamie Foxx and
Halle Berry.
Shad. No, Halle Berry. We don't count Halle Berry. What's the guy who played Shad? Samuel Jackson. So we got 5 black guys. That's Hollywood's interpretation of the black race. Okay? So when they got 2,000 other people working, they got 5 blacks working, it says, okay, now everything has changed. Hey, come on. How has it changed? You got 5 guys working, that's it. 5 guys that are starring in films, that's not enough for me.
What about Asian Americans? They don't have many big stars, right?
Well, you can't have Native Americans being stars anymore because you can't kill them anymore. You can't kill Indians in a movie anymore. That didn't work.
Well, I was going to ask you the Richard Pryor question, but you've already answered it. One of my favorite scenes in The Fantastic From Dusk Till Dawn is your Vietnam flashback. Can you tell me something more about shooting that scene and working with Tarantino and Rodriguez?
Well, Tarantino came by my house and said he wanted me in the movie, but he didn't know how to bring me into the movie because the movie was so strange. He didn't know how I would fit, so he asked me if I would write my part. So I wrote my part in From Dusk Till Dawn. In most of the movies, I'm always a hero. I play the heroic kind of character. So I knew that when I came into this movie, I had to come in the same kind of way, but I had to figure out a way to come in a little deranged, not so much as coming in to save the day, but just coming into the movie in a weird kind of way. So my fans knew that eventually I was going to kill a few vampires. I mean, that was inevitable. But when I came in as this strange guy from Vietnam talking about how he survived something in Vietnam, it was a little surprising to my fans, but once I started fighting and killing them and beating them up, then I lived up to my expectation. So he let me write my part into the film.
Spike Lee has expressed his disregard for Tarantino's use of the N-word. How do you feel about that? Because Spike Lee is obviously an important African-American filmmaker.
Spike Lee is only important to Spike Lee. Not important to me. I don't really see anything that Spike Lee has done for anybody except Spike Lee. But if you remember, back in my history, before I did Black Caesar and Hell Up in Harlem, my first big movie after MASH was The Legend of Nigger Charlie. And then I came up with The Soul of Nigger Charlie. And then after that I did Boss Nigger. So if I can make money using that word, I'm there. You know, if you don't like it, see me later.
Alright. One last question. Can you tell me what you plan to do? Are you still desiring to make movies, direct them, produce them?
I make 3 movies a year. My next movie will be a sequel to Original Gangsters. It's called Old School Gangsters. But I learned that when you make movies and you release them in the theater, that's only an ego massage, because you don't really make any money as an actor when you give it to a distributor. They are the ones who make all the money. If I make a movie for DVD or for video, then I make most of the money because I control the film. I know how many units are being sold, so you can't lie to me and tell me about the distribution costs, how much it costs, and there is no money. So if you don't see me in a big theatrical film, doesn't mean I'm not working. I make 3 movies a year, but I know that I make most of my money from video and cable and television.
Do we have some questions? All right.
I'm wondering, you have a very large filmography. What's your favorite genre to do? You did westerns, you did action movies, you did comedies. And what are your favorite movies of all? Black Caesar, I don't know, That Man Bolt?
My favorite genre includes everything you said except comedy. I don't do comedy. I kick people's butt. I have 3 rules in my movies. If you want to hire me, which Hollywood knows very well. 1, you can't kill me in a movie. 2, I have to win all my fights in a movie. 3, I get the girl at the end of the movie if I want her. If you satisfy 2 out of 3 of those, I'm there. If you only do 1, forget about it. I stay home and play golf. So my genre is action. I'm a martial artist. I have 3 black belts. So getting the bad guy is what I do and what I have done the most. I don't do comedy, dude. Got enough brothers doing funny. Okay, thank you.
Can I have a last big round of applause for Mr. Fred Williamson?